Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. I'm very honored and delighted to have the chance to participate at the annual conference on cultural diplomacy here in the week of the UN. Who am I? I'm Muhammad Malique, President of Citizen Movement UK branch, which is a human rights group. We have over 10,000 members across the globe in 250 countries. I'm also a post-law graduate, restaurateur, and an awarded master chef. It has been said I'm a guy who can achieve cultural diplomacy by feeding the world. I represent Citizen Movement and agree with Bangladesh's main opposition party, the Bangladesh National Party, at this conference. I extend the goodwill and greetings to you all from the party chairperson, former Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia, and the party's senior vice chairman, Mr. Tariq Rahman. I thank Mr. Mark Donfried of the Institute for the Cultural Diplomacy for bringing us all together and giving us the opportunity once again to address and understand the pressing problems, opportunities, threats, and complexities the world we live in today faces. So since my last attendance at the United Nations speaking to yourselves, I'm glad to say that at the very least we have promoted awareness globally of this issue, and it is our aim now to try and implement this and take positive steps forward to making Bangladesh a free and fair country once again using cultural diplomacy. So 2017 gives both the UN Secretary General's Office and the US administration to show leadership in ensuring peace and security by championing the values of democracy and human rights to fight against terror and militancy. Both the UN Secretary General and US President Donald Trump could start by addressing the democratic deficit and gross violation of human rights in Bangladesh by the Sheikh Hasina regime. So in Bangladesh, a parliamentary majority of 154 seats were declared won by Sheikh Hasina's regime without a single eligible citizen of the country being able to vote in the highly flawed national elections in 2014. Not a single person. Could you imagine that in the US or the UK? The people of Bangladesh today demand a free, fair election and an independent, neutral election commission free from executive influence. So in my country, no religious party has ever got beyond 5% in national elections when there was a democracy. Today, in the absence of democracy, they are developing a desire to take over state power by overthrowing a deeply unpopular regime led by Sheikh Hasina. The rise of extremism is due to the abandonment of democracy and human rights. If cultural diplomacy was to be understood as the flourishing of ideas, art, literature, and the right to freedom of expression, then I'm sorry to say neither of these mediums can freely express themselves under the current Awami League regime in Bangladesh, where citizens do not have the right to vote, elections are manipulated, opposition activists are killed, abducted, and rule of law and access to justice is absent. We've already seen this recently, and now in Rohingya. We do not wish to see anything similar like this in Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina's state-sponsored terror holds captive the entire nation, whether it is opposition politicians, civil society, media, business, or cultural or film industries. Dissent against government is seen as a crime, and the patronage of ruling party officials has led to widespread corruption. Citizens of minority communities have been killed by ruling Awami League leaders throughout the country. My concern is that Afghanistan was a country of maybe 25 to 30 million people when the problem started there some 30 years ago. The world today is still tackling the problems of extremism left by that instability. My worry is Bangladesh is a country of 160 to 170 million people. Can you imagine what may happen if there is instability caused by extremists because of the democratic deficit in our country given the size of our population? Today we see many summits on Syria, in particular to discuss the problems of migration. Well, we could have a summit on Bangladesh discussing similar issues within 2 years if global institutions like the UN and the US presidency and global civil society don't address the problems in Bangladesh with immediate effect. At least the Bangladesh National Party, as the main opposition party, has enacted in their party constitution articles that strongly denounce extremism and radicalization, believing in using cultural dimensions to address these problems in society. We need to work with education institutions, families, and young people in our societies to get rid of these evil components from our polity. How are we going to do this? Firstly, we would like the right to a free and fair election, one where we cannot be opposed or frightened to vote. In a world of technology and a country where there are more mobile phones than landlines and easy access to the internet, why can't we hold a vote or a referendum to see what people really want without the fear of persecution? How can people's wishes and feelings be ignored if it was obvious and there was proof? How can people disappear if they were to remain anonymous? This is just an idea and a dream, like it wasn't an idea and a dream in the not so recent past to be able to free mix in the US regardless of the colour of our skin, or how it was a dream for women to be able to vote decades ago. One of the dreams of our nation is to be able to vote too, and we hope that this is something which can be accomplished in the near future. Bangladesh, along with India, has the highest youth population in the world. Citizen Movement and the Bangladesh National Party believes in free market trading, transnational cultural exchange, and in sharing capability and intelligence to tackle the threat of terrorism. The people here today and from all over the world and representatives from the global civil society, I urge you on behalf of my party and country to prioritise the matter of restoring democracy and human rights in Bangladesh in order to rid the world from further instability. Thank you.
And while you're there, are there questions or comments? Want to keep this also interactive, so it's on the presentation. We have a few moments. Would anyone like to make a reflection or pose a question?
I just have a point of clarification. I'm sorry. A point of clarification. I didn't understand how many people voted in the election. I didn't.
Well, in 2014.
Yes. The recent election that you.
So the recent election that's just gone past. Not a single person. So basically what happened is if you were to go and vote against the current government, they would block the roads, they'd have the army outside, they'd prevent you with the threat of life to not be able to vote.
Okay, so so no one voted?
So nobody voted, no. Apart from those, I believe, that are in Parliament at the moment. Does that make sense?
What was the turnout then?
Yeah.
The turnout of the 2014 election.
So the turnout of the 2014 election, I'll have to Google it for you really quickly because I don't have the...
This 154 without election selected. Is without, no, is a democracy.
What?
No one voted. 154 MP without any election is selected MP.
Without opposition.
Election didn't took place, or
It took place, but
because
the opposition didn't participate for election. Because
Okay,
this is not fair.
If opposition did not take part.
Yeah, opposition not take part for the election.
But there were supporters of the government, at least they voted or not?
No one voted. But only is the empty. All is, this food center is empty. It is the 5%. It's 4%. No one is gone.
It's probably the same thing that happened in
Pardon?
similar to this Maduro. The Maduro, what's this country name?
If we talk about democracy, let's talk about Bangladesh. Because Bangladesh population is this, how many population is 300 MP, then 154 MP without coming for selection. This is not called democracy. It's 5% no vote. But now with this prime minister is here, we are fighting for democracy. What is the democracy? That is our main objective,
So these MPs were selected by the current
Without
administration
voting.
without
Yeah. Without voting.
But how did that even happen?
Because this large party of the BNP and alliance, 20-party alliance, all together, no one participates, single one for the election. This is the main thing. Just our Malique, they have some selected MP. This doesn't come to the parliament. Is running the parliament now. The next elections is to the 2019. End of 2019.
Okay, did the opposition parties went to the High Court or Supreme Court to get stay on that these elections?
No, it's everything is,
Controlled
coming
by
by
army.
our military. No one goes.
Doesn't make any sense, does it?
So they don't challenge interference
No chance.
with being
Yeah.
killed.
Yeah.
Even judiciary is controlled by the army. In such countries, just like in Bangladesh, where army is so strong that it not only rig the elections or control the streets, but it also controls the judiciary and the other institutions. So even the judges have to give the decision as per.
Even judges is government pocket.
Similar happened in Pakistan in 1970s when one of our former prime ministers, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, was hanged. And it was not free trial, and the judges were pursued by the army dictator at that time to give him the death sentence, and he was hanged. So in such countries where military is very strong, not I can say strong, but it has the maneuvering in the democracy, so they control the judiciary too.
He is the one of our politician. He is the weak government. This what said. He's coming, because he's the weak government. It's not a democracy. Hello, Mr. Welcome.
Hello, sir. I'm late.
No problem. Good to see you.
Okay, what the cultural diplomacy has to do with this political
Yes,
turmoil?
yes, that's.
So I'm here. I'm here on a human rights basis, without the political agenda, but I'm agreeing with the main opposition party at the moment that the government at the moment is not a legitimate one, and we are asking for a free and fair election.
So can we ask the member of government to respond to what happened in
Please.
the election?
He is the alliance of the government, not member of it.
Can we get a response from him then?
What?
He's saying that there was that the election turnout, that nobody turned out for the election because the government blocked the roads and it wasn't able to, so they weren't able
They
to
are
access.
speaking their way.
Right, so what is your response to that?
No, of course, there was an open election. If they doesn't come, nobody will. If I call you invitation for your dinner, if you don't come, that's not my headache.
Yeah.
What does that say about your dinner though?
But if you threaten that in dinner there is going to be poison,
Yeah,
they will not come.
that's,
Pardon?
If you say that in dinner you might have poison, of course they will not come.
Yeah.
And if you say that, okay,
I
you
invited them.
You have to
If
come for
doesn't
the-
come, that's
No,
not fine.
no,
But
my
they
brother,
can
if
show
you
the
say that
time
you
terms
will
of
come for the
excuse.
dinner.
They can tell that my stomach is not all right. That's why I didn't turn up because I cannot eat. So that's not our fault.
no,
That's their
listen,
fault.
in all seriousness, you have to respond to this very, in a serious tone. What do you mean? Why, I mean, that seems a little ridiculous that nobody showed up for the election, that they weren't, that the ballots were empty. So, I mean, we would like a serious response.
When the caretaker government was there, the caretaker government called them. They didn't turn out for the election. And again there was another election. This time they are coming, and last time they didn't turn up. And if they doesn't come this time, they will lose their. It's called. আপনাদের
Constitution.
No, not constitution. It is their memberships of the.
Lose the party members, okay?
They will lose the party members.
So we've got a question over the back.
Nibbonda.
I just want to understand, maybe I didn't get it right. Is it that, I can understand if opposition didn't go to vote, but one of the members of the party in power, why did they not participate for the election? What happened? Because you said just the MPs voted, right?
No, the MPs were selected.
Yeah.
MPs not voted.
So the MPs were selected,
So
yeah.
her point is that why the voters who were supporting the party which was
In power,
voting,
yeah, didn't vote, why?
what about their
What
turnout?
about them?
Yes, they turned up. That I asked the question.
Oh, okay, so you're.
For opposition, yes, okay, maybe you and I were not vote, they didn't participate. But one of the members of the party in power, why did they not vote?
Okay, that's a question I think you're going to have to wait to ask the leader of the BNP for Denmark when he comes. My concern is with the human rights and with, let's say, the dinner scenario. You know, the dinner was cooked, it was there, it may have been the greatest curry in the world, but if the car tires are busted and if by trying to get to the car somebody tries to hurt you, then it's not possible to get to the dinner. you know, this is where my concern is how you're going to get to the dinner, not what's on the menu. That makes sense. Yeah, but a very good question.
Thank you. I think, looking at the clock, I think we should maybe conclude this, but I think it was excellent that we did have a good exchange here. We see it's a complex situation, and I think this is the idea in a setting like this, that we can openly discuss and hear as many sides as we can. And we're not going to stop the discussion with Bangladesh, but I want to continue it now with Suep. So I'll say a few words of introduction about him, but beforehand, let's express our sincere gratitude to Malique for the presentation. Thank you.